What's going on, family? My name is Jay Lorenzo for That'sEnough.com, and today is September 13th, 2014, which makes Ready to Die by Biggie Smalls 20 today. So we are in the heart of Brooklyn, in his section, like Clinton Hill, Fort Greene. It's a lot of gentrification, but 20 years later, we want to know, does Ready to Die still hold up as a classic? We're going to talk to some people in the neighborhood, see how they feel about the album, what's their favorite cut on the album, and if this album is still a classic today. So roll with me for That'sEnough.com. Let's go talk to some people. When'd you first hear Ready to Die?
I first heard Ready to Die, I was about, give or take, 3 years old. It's not too funny because honestly, like about 5 minutes ago, I was listening to it on Beats Music. You know, they're doing their little tribute to Biggie Smalls on Beats Music as well. So I'm sitting there listening to songs like Who Shot Ya, you know, bumping on the bus, having a good time. You know, it's a regular day.
Well, I was fairly young when I heard Biggie for the first time, but there are definitely a couple lines that definitely stick in my head just from hearing his voice. He definitely had a distinct voice and a distinct nature about himself. As a big guy, and I remember hearing the line, fat, black, and ugly as ever. However,
I stay Gucci down to the socks, rings and watch filled with rocks. And my jam knock me the Mitsubishi. Girls pee-pee when they see me, Navajos creep me in they teepee.
that's a strong line, you know, like still demanding the stage, still demanding an audience, but still, you know, having certain things that you consider boundaries.
I was in junior high school, and you know I had to sneak it because see my dad is a pastor, so I had to sneak the album, and I had a cassette player, you know, and I was sneaking it, and while he had Mahalia Jackson playing, I was busting. And see what happened? Let me tell you, I played the organ, so I was trying to learn it because I was trying to play it.
You're just gonna play Biggie in the church?
In the church, I was playing Biggie.
And I literally remember like yesterday, the first time that I saw Biggie, it was a video. And I was at my brother's apartment. He was attending NC State at the time. I was still in high school, but we was visiting him. And I remember in the living room of his apartment, the video came on, and we was like, who the fuck is this this big guy? And I remember the lyric was Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. When I was there broke, man, I couldn't picture this. And we was like, oh shit, who is this? Where is he from? And then we realized from looking at the video, oh, okay, that's another New Yorker. And to be honest, that's when it all started. That's when I became a Biggie fan. And then
when Ready to Die came out, I thought I was in high school. And when it dropped, like it was just a phenomenon to everyone in the school that I went to. Like we would listen to it. Back then, it was like, you know, CD players and cassette decks and stuff like that. So we had it in our CD players, just like repeat, like every line, every verse. Like, I mean, to this day, you could listen to Ready to Die and hear a certain line and still kind of feel uncomfortable with saying what Biggie said back then. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you mean.
So, but it's still a classic, you know, definitely.
Live from Bedford-Stuyvesant, the livest one, representing BK to the fullest.
What do you remember most about the album from where you were, like junior high school? What do you remember most?
You know what? I wanted to be in that lifestyle. Cause I mean, I was in Long Island. We didn't, you know.
And
I didn't have no hard time.
it was grass and
It was grass. It was trees. You know, I didn't know, but I was like, man, I wish I knew what that struggle. I wanted to struggle, and so yeah, it just opened me up to a world I didn't know existed.
First time actually hearing the album in its entirety, like what was kind of going through your head at that time?
when I first heard the entire album, I was just like, oh wow, okay, well this is a new artist I have to pay attention to, because like I told you, my favorite artist was Tupac at that time. Still is today, but I'm just saying, like, and then Biggie was my second best artist once I heard the entire album. Like the What with Method Man was even crazy. So he had a lot of songs that from the first song to the last song, it was to me it was a 10. It was a dope album.
What's your favorite joint on the album?
Ushach.
And why? Why?
I feel that he released the song. He released, according to his autobiographical film, he released the song before Tupac got shot, but he also started up the real East Coast West Coast beef. So it really put like rap on a whole different pedestal. It really started to sectionize rap for East Coast rappers rapping their certain way versus West Coast rappers rapping their certain way.
Well, since you took that, I'll probably have to say Warning.
Why so?
Because Warning, it was a real, it was a story. It actually told people, it gave people a different aspect of, how to visualize certain things. Like, you told the story, in a sense, so you feel like, oh, who the hell is waking up, you know what I mean? So it's like, oh, this is real. Like, if you imagine, you put yourself in that situation, you know what I mean? And it was just a good experience, for people to listen.
What's your favorite track on Ready to Die?
Juicy. Yeah.
And why is that?
Because at that same time, I mean, I never became rich like he did from Sega Genesis and all that. But at that time, I was definitely broke, still broke. But I'm saying I understood how he felt coming from the hood, and all of a sudden, he's living he was living the glamorous life. So that was actually my favorite joint.
The one that stands out to me the most, I'm not gonna lie, like all of them are classics, but like the one that stands out to me the most is the What with Method Man. Like the way that he came off on that was just like crazy, and adding Meth on top of that with his voice and his gritty style, it just made that record dope. So that's something that stands out to me.
I used to get feels on the bitch. Now I throw shields on the dick to stop me from that HIV shit. And niggas know they soft like a Twinkie fillin', playing the villain.
Speaking of the What, Biggie actually told Meth that he thought he got him on that track, and I think Meth said vice versa. So who you feel like won that battle of lyricism on the What?
Meth is good. Meth is good. Like, Meth definitely held his own on that record. Give Meth all his credit, because he actually stepped up another notch than what I'm used to hearing him when he was with Wu-Tang or even on his solo joint. So he definitely took it up another notch. But it's hard to go against Biggie, right? Not because I'm from Brooklyn, but he killed that track. Like, the second verse he went in, honeys feel it deep in their placenta, cold as the cold in the winter. Yo, come on.
Oh yeah, at that point, got him. I think Meth got him too. I mean, when you listen to it, I think Meth got him. I mean, I really do. Biggie said his thing, but shit, Meth said his thing too. Like, and I think and then some New Yorkers, like, I'm from the South. I'm not afraid to say it. Sorry, but a lot of New Yorkers will say, Biggie got him, and it's because they're New York biased. And although that Meth is from New York, Biggie is still bigger than Meth. You know what I mean? So, but I really feel like, to me, Meth got him.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say, Biggie didn't do his thing. Yeah, he did his thing. I mean, if you look, Meth got him.
It's point blank period for you.
Yep, point blank period. Meth won that, but the song was actually dope.
If this album came out today, you think it'd be as big as an impact as it was in '94?
I believe so. Biggie Smalls is a very influential and strong person in the rap game. And if his album was released today, it would probably be more powerful than it was back in those times.
And because now the rap game, a lot of people, they're talking, but they're not speaking, you know what I mean? There's a difference to say something to the youth than to say something to, everybody as a whole, to let people know that this is what it is and this is how life is in the streets and everything like that.
We had so many albums to come out. I mean, around this time, Nas Illmatic was out. Meth dropped to Cal. Outkast had their first LP. So many great albums. Where do you feel like Ready to Die rates amongst the greats, amongst his class? Where do you feel like Ready to Die rates?
It's up there. It's one of the tops. Like, it's definitely one of the tops of all the albums that you named. But I mean, we can view that now, 20 years later, looking back and listening to it, we were like, yeah, Biggie was actually ahead of his time, and that album was definitely a great album for that era. But back then, 20 years prior to when we just heard it, I don't think that the world gave Biggie the recognition that he deserved for that album dropping the time that it dropped. I think it was like everybody from Brooklyn, everybody that was into hip hop at that point in time was just like, yo, Ready to Die is a good album. But then when you have stuff like Takao with Method and Wu-Tang was like big at that time, you know what I mean? It was just like, yo, you know, you was listening to that. Outkast, who was new and upcoming, I don't think that like they got recognized and everything, but like around that time, rap and hip hop was just like so good at that point. It was so heavy and it was just so strong that like out of all those albums that you named, like Biggie had to be at least the top 4 of those. You know what I mean?
I want to thank you for taking me down
Memory lane.
because you know it did help.
Right.
So that's all I got to say.
Magazine, salt and pepper and heavy D up in the limousine, hanging pictures on my wall. Every Saturday, rap attack Mr. Magic Marley Marl. I let my tape rock till my tape pop, smoking weed and bamboo, sipping on private stock. Way back when I had the red and black.